Hi, so we're here to do the response to video for the Hans Rosling New Insights on Poverty, and I'm Erica Pass.
I'm Chelsea Smithy.
I'm Jordan Parson. Alright, so kind of how he introduced it in was he talked a lot about GDP and how it's a direct effect to child mortality. It kind of goes along the census of in earlier years of the developing countries where GDP was a little bit higher, mortality rate for children per capita was a little bit lower, and kind of as they rose economically, they started to kind of meet up. And the direct correlation being usually the more money you have, the better your health is. But as what he's seeing and saying now is with the developing countries where they're at now, they are kind of swapped. So they're a little bit higher at mortality rate, and their economic-wise are a little bit lower. And it's coming up that way. And so he said it was kind of an interesting correlation about the differences in times.
With that, the poverty is able to change when technology is involved. And there was an example in the video that he talked about just giving them, what was the mill?
The flour mill.
A flour mill, how it would help them increase in their production and stuff like that so much. So as we increase their technology, they're able to grow much more, and the poverty rate is able to go down.
So I thought it was interesting how he talked about that. Like, for instance, like the United States is doing really well and other countries are impoverished and they're not doing so well, and so we keep babying them and giving them more produce or whatever they need to sustain their society. And what we should really be looking at is what Hans Rosling was talking about, that we should compare where they were at to where they're at now. And so U.S., like, we've progressed a lot, but if we look at a certain time period and how they progressed within that time, they've progressed a lot more than some other countries. And so we need to just change our perspective on that and focus on how much they've developed over the time.
You kind of started over with a list of things that are important versus means and goals, about the means that you need so that you can progress, so you can come from where you were to where you need to be, and the goals, and he kind of ranked them on a system. The means and goals criteria that he gave us were human rights, which for means, not so important. Goals-wise, very important. Environment, it was about equal, both sides, because if you're not in a good location, you're obviously not going to be healthy, and you're not going to make a lot of money. Governance, means, he said it was really important. Goals-wise, wasn't so important. The leniency rates, those kind of things. Economic growth, means was very important. Goals was a little bit less important, but still pretty similar. Education, he thought was important vastly across both sides, because with your education, you're going to increase your technology, you're going to increase your literacy rate, which when people are literate, they're usually a lot healthier, if that makes sense. Then health, means and goals, again, it was a little bit lower on means, higher on goals. And culture, low on means, high on goals, because he says the culture is what's just ultimately important. So, want to talk for 45 seconds about stuff?
What else?
Just really, in a nutshell, to wrap it up, everything that is highly important to development, you got your GDP, you got your child mortality rate, you got your culture, education, and technology. If you have virtually those things, your country is going to develop a lot faster, smoother, healthier, better, and ultimately you're going to start catching up to those correlations.
And through that, poverty will decrease.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, that was good. Oh, 2 seconds. And